All right. It's been a minute since I've been live, but we're gonna hang out today. I got a lot of time. I was in Cancun in Isla de Mujeres for 6 days. I think 5 days it was last week. What a great time. Then I just got back from Toronto from the Toronto Barber Expo. That was a great time. And then next week I'll be in I'm going to Costa Rica for 9 days. Man, God is good. God is good. With that being said, man, let's get caught up with the world, bro. I am getting smacked by hymns. Hymns is killing me. I would be right now. Let me look at my portfolio right now. Y'all don't even want to know. But I want to show you guys something because we were in a similar situation last month, if y'all remember, with Tesla. I was down like 300%. I don't know if you guys remember that. But I'm down like 400% with hymns right now because I sold puts on it. And something that we could have never planned for happened. Apparently, some deal went bad with a big partner, and it wasn't just that the deal went bad. It was that the company that Hims partnered with, they took shots, and pretty much they were saying that Hims was doing shady business and selling their customers shady stuff. I don't think I'm coming back from this one. I think I'm gonna end up. Oh, and I got five contracts. So I'm going to end up spending $25,000 on him stocks that I'm going to have to sell covered calls on. So if this goes bad, but if you look at my main screen here, let me zoom into this real quick. I will close. Yeah, there we go. Let me zoom in. All right. This Tesla, now I'm up 67%. I was down probably 300% 3 weeks ago. And so you got to be careful not to be emotional. Like one of my guys was trying to roll this already, and he just got in. We got a whole month. You know what could happen in a month? It's not like our strike price is $60, $70. The stock went down from like almost $70 to 43 overnight. Like that's something that doesn't happen. It might happen a couple times, once a year. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, I don't mean in the stock market. I mean to a particular stock. And so I just see people who are still fans of Hims are going to buy the dip, and it's at $43 right now. In 30 days, this could be up to $57, $58, $60, right? That's what happened with Tesla. Y'all remember how much Tesla dropped? That was insane. It went down to 275, and I had a 310 strike price. That was scary. So it's not the end of the world. I'm good. We got a backup plan, worst case scenario type of thing. The longer I keep, as long as I don't get assigned, decay will help me out. So got a whole month to see this trade through. But aside from that, this is my profits right now. If you look at closed positions, these are all stock options, right? If you look at closed positions for this month, it's taking forever to load. Why is it taking forever to load? Let me see what's up with the chat. Oh, we got people in the chat. Pop a cup on, you'll feel better. What? Always a good day catching the ball. Hey, what's up, Chris? Christopher. Let me fix this. I wish this would stay consistent. It doesn't. It's like, oh look, damn, I didn't realize I'm up that much this month already. So I'm up $3,600 this month. We got a week left, and probably I will close a few positions here. So I'm not gonna be able to close Hims. That's for next month. But Palantir, we're at 45%. Palantir, and that expires July 18th. But I might be able to close this and collect that and realize that. But if I don't, that's okay. SoFi, definitely gonna close that. That's extra $400. So we'll be at $4,000 for the month. And then Tesla will definitely close that. Well, not definitely, but if we do close that, we'll be at like $5,000 for the month. Where last month we were at 7,500. Not bad. Not bad at all. And then, we'll just get into some more positions here and hope that Hims will turn around. But we'll just keep collecting premium. All right. With that being said, man, let's see what's going on here with deportation planes with Trump. There's a lot to catch up with. Iran, Israel, bombs and stuff, man. I didn't get to keep up with all this stuff, but the stock market's been holding up, huh? With all of this craziness. People, are always saying, well, not always, but a lot of people like to say things like, a lot of people like to say things like, man, it's the end of the world, it's the end of the world. Bro, we went through 9/11. You know what I mean? Like, there's been way crazier things that have happened in this world. The Iraq war, all that stuff. Like, and we did fine. We did okay. It sucks, but that's the world we live in, man. That's why we seek God's advice, and we look forward to going to the kingdom. All right, let's go ahead and watch this.
Well, the Supreme Court sides with an important tenet of President Trump's immigration crackdown. In a 6-3 decision, the High Court removed a lower court's injunction that had blocked the administration from deporting migrants to countries that they have no connection to. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller celebrating the win on Hannity last night. Watch.
This is an incredible victory, the Supreme Court win. It allows President Trump, as the law has long said, but the courts have blocked, it allows President Trump to send illegal aliens convicted of rape, murder, homicide, assault, battery, crimes against children to any country around the world that is willing to accept them.
Remember all the people that said that Trump was doing something illegal? I remember them. They was in my comments going in on me. Turns out exactly what we thought would happen. It would go to the Supreme Court, and likely it would be a big nothing burger, a big waste of resources, a big waste of our time. And he's within his rights.
And DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin is telling Fox News this, quote, if these activist judges had their...
Yo, Tubbs, I saw that. Tubbs. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. And it was y'all's government, right? The governor of Texas was like, yo, I'm vetoing this. I want THC. That's what he said. He said, bro, I want THC. I'm vetoing this. What's his name? Greg? Is Greg Abbott? It's Greg Abbott, right? I don't know. All right, let's keep watching.
Way. Aliens who are so uniquely barbaric that their own countries won't take them back, including convicted murderers, child rapists, and drug traffickers, would walk free on American streets.
Damn.
She continued this, quote, fire up the deportation planes.
Damn.
Now, look, Paul, not to make light of this, but indeed, the reality is that there was sort of a heightened advocacy for many people that overwhelmingly, over 80% of the Americans actually voted in favor for and polled in favor of removing from this country. Now, this removes red tape. It allows us to resume the expedited deportations, but it doesn't actually solve the legality of the merits. But that could take years to wind its way through the court. So break this down for us.
And it likely will. So look, the basis of our amnesty laws are not for us to make all of these decisions. The basis for our amnesty laws is to protect them from their home country if, in fact, they qualify. We're not travel agents, okay? So if we have people who are going to be willing to take them and they don't have to go back to their home country because that's the basis of the amnesty law, then okay, it should be constitutional. But here's the thing I want to point out. Look at the Kilmar-Abrego situation. All right. What everybody forgets is the original sin, in my estimation, of that case. He's here. He makes a case to an immigration judge that he cannot go back to El Salvador because of some beef relative to MS-13, and subsequently it developed that he's likely MS-13. Think about how you're supposed to make that adjudication as the immigration judge here. You're sitting here, right, in an American court, and you're trying to adjudicate a gang beef going on in El Salvador.
That he alleges. There's no way to even confirm that.
How can you investigate that precisely? So as a result, you put these immigration judges in a position where they're trying to ascertain stuff they can't possibly adjudicate. And that's the real flaw here. And that's what this comparatively, not entirely, but comparatively fixes.
And Harris, I wanted to dig into this point with you, which is that much was made by the left and the media when that lower court issued this ruling, right? Yes, they deserve due process, even though it wasn't quite due process. They deserve that meaningful notice. They had the 30-day hearing. But at the end of the day, SCOTUS ruled yet again on President Trump's side. And I'm sure we'll hear crickets from the left. But at the end of the day, President Trump's policies have been proven time and time again that they are indeed constitutional and legal.
I wish we could hear crickets from the left. What we're going to hear is more of the same, which is lawfare, 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 even when they're losing. Their game is to slow down this president, and our game as citizens is to speed him up so he can work out his vision that people voted for last November and to keep us all in a place where we are whole and safe. We can't afford 11 million plus more illegals in this country flowing over. He has stopped that flow at the border, and now we need to vet, something that we were not able to do because we were outnumbered at the border and judges were outnumbered. Now we need to get these people in. Those who get to stay, stay. Those who have to go, go. You can do the CBP Home app and get in line and come back the right way. But they want to the left wants to slow this president down. So
that's the app that they released. And I was telling everybody, like, I'm glad that they have that app. And apparently, depending on what industry you're in, if you can get a referral or you know, a sponsor or something like that, you'll have expedited entry back. So I don't know how true that is. I don't know if people trust it. We probably need to check in on it in a few months, see how the program's going. It might be just bullshit, just a way to get, you know, Trump is finessing people, but it might not be. It might be real. And honestly, I think most Americans would totally be for giving people temporary legal status if they're not criminals, if they're paying taxes, if they have a job, or they have a business, if they have kids here. Like, I'm pretty sure most Americans would be fine with that, grandfather them in, completely shut down the borders, and reform our immigration system. That's what people want, you know, but
I said it going into the commercial break. This should be at a faster clip. And you've heard both the DHS secretary and the president of the United States, 3,000 a day would be what they'd like to see. Bring it on.
Right. And Sandra, you juxtapose this again, the highest court in the land siding with the president, the administration, and yet there's still ads being run by Democrats, essentially like making it sound like people are going to get ripped away from their homes that are legal citizens.
You say that Democrats are trying to slow down the efforts of the president. They're trying to slow down the will of the American people. And when you think about crime and immigration are the two top issues in this past presidential election. And this is what the American voters, they wanted. And to quote the DHS spokesperson, Tricia McLaughlin, you probably had her on our show as well. We have her often on America Report. She speaks so eloquently on the department's efforts here with these illegal, criminal migrants. She said, fire up the deportation planes, right? And to go back to Stephen Miller's point, this allows them to send out convicted murderers, those convicted of homicide, rape, horrific.
You know, that's what people voted. They voted to get them people out. But seeing ICE running onto farms and grabbing people is not what people had in mind.
Crimes against children.
McLaughlin
went on to say the high court's action is, quote, a victory for the safety and the security of the American people, which goes back to those two election issues. And you would be hard pressed to find Americans who are not in support of this.
That's right.
The final note I'll make is from the liberal perspective. The justice that wrote about this, Justice Sonia Sotomayor for the liberals, wrote that the government has made clear in word and deed that it feels itself unconstrained by law, free to deport anyone anywhere without notice or opportunity to be heard. But the Solicitor General that took this forward to the Supreme Court said the United States is facing a crisis of illegal immigration, in no small part because many aliens most deserving of removal are often the hardest to remove, which is why this very practice is being undertaken by the president to reach out to these third parties, third countries, to get rid of criminals. Specifically speaking about a group of men who was on a plane that went to Africa, violent criminals convicted of murder, sexual assault, kidnapping, robbery. These are the individuals that they're focused on.
Which is why I think that dissent is disingenuous, you know, at a minimum, right? Because the whole point is it doesn't apply to this particular group. Hey, everyone, I'm Emily Compagno. Catch me and...
Yeah, I don't agree with illegal immigration. I don't like when people try to conflate the two and say and pretty much say immigration and illegal immigration as if they're the same thing. Yeah, we need immigrants, and yeah, a lot of people messed up and they came here illegally, and now they're getting deported, even though they're good, contributing people in our society. But I wouldn't blame Trump, to be honest. I'm blaming Biden, bro. Just letting millions of people, from all over, 15,000 Iranians came into this country, of which that were caught. 15,000 that were caught. Half of them were let back in, and we don't know. Why are these people coming in from Iran through the southern border? Now they got this thing called the supercells. Thank God it looks like things are starting to de-escalate with Iran and Israel, but it's scary, bro. And it's nothing against the Iranian people. We're gonna watch a video about Iran. One of the YouTubers that I really like visited Iran 10 days ago, and it'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind. You would think Iran looked like Iraq and Afghanistan during the war. It don't. It ain't like that at all. You're gonna see it. It reminds me more of like Turkey when I went to Turkey. Most of the people there ain't like their government. So, but then when you see their government chanting "Death to America," man, blow them damn nuclear centers up. I don't give a damn what anybody has. Oh, they have no, the hell they don't have the right to have one. Hell no. You don't have the right to have nothing. You've made some bad choices throughout the history of your country. That's exactly why you can't have a nuke. Damn it. What about America? If Iran had a nuke, who you think would be better off? If Iran had as much power as America, LGBTQ people would be getting slaughtered. All right. Christians, they already get persecuted out there. What you think would happen to Christians, to Christian countries all over the world? Just stop, guys. Just stop. And maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not trying to find out. Blow them damn centers up, them underground bunkers. Why do you have bunkers 200 feet under the ground unless you're trying to build nuclear weapons? Why do you have so much potential uranium? You don't need that for nuclear energy. Not that much. Man, and people are just like, oh, they shut up. Just shut up. All right, with that being said, guys, I want to watch what Trump has to say about the Israel-Iran ceasefire, because it was a hell of a clusterfuck the last 24 hours. It was insane. Let's check this out.
Part in a NATO summit. The visit comes just hours after a key ceasefire agreement between Israel and Iran seemed to stall. Let's break down what happened. This morning, Israeli first responders said an Iranian missile hit the southern city of Beersheba, killing 4 people and wounding about 20 others. After that, Israel accused Iran of firing more missiles and violating a ceasefire deal. Israel then said they would, quote, respond with force, but Iran denies breaking the agreement.
That's the thing, though. Like, they keep denying that it's them, and they denied the nuclear plants. No, ain't no denying. 200 feet under the ground bunkers. 3 of them. Enough uranium to have nuclear weapons. You don't need that much uranium. The math ain't mathin'. And you won't let anyone from the UN go look at the sites, investigate. You won't let them. Something's not adding up. You'd rather go to war than let the UN investigate? Something ain't adding up. Okay, but maybe it wasn't their missiles. Who was it? Because the Houthis have chilled out. Hamas has chilled out, it seems like. I could be wrong. I got to fact check the Hamas one, but the Houthis did. They chilled out. Who's firing these missiles? Now, Israel can, in a few days, can shut all that shit down after investigating it and being able to solidify that it was an Iranian missile, but they were Iranian missiles. But even then, Iran has actually been operating in good faith with America. I don't know if you guys know, but when they went to bomb, they went and bombed an American base, and I guess they already had it planned, and they warned America up front that those bombs were coming so that they can get their airplanes out, their people out, all that. And all it really was a media thing. It's a media thing to make them look strong in front of their people, in front of their citizens, which is smart, because if not, the leader there is going to be ousted. You feel me? But nonetheless, Iran has been operating in good faith, and Trump is like, yo, Israel just went, and after we just said we about to do a ceasefire, you going to send missiles after missiles over there? And then you want to get mad when Iran fires back? Let's watch this.
Trump, quick to save the deal, held a phone call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The White House says he stood firm about what needs to happen to sustain the ceasefire. After that conversation, Netanyahu says they refrained from further attacks. Before that, though, the president did not hold back his frustration. Listen.
I think they both violated it. I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it. Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. When I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.
Okay, we've got team coverage standing.
Trump was in his bag. A boy said, they don't know what the. I ain't never heard him curse before.
Bye for us is CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Zheng. But first.
But he don't need to curse when he be talking. He says enough wild shit.
Let's go live to Tel Aviv, Israel, with CBS News international reporter Haley Ott. Haley, thank you for joining us again today on 24/7. Where do things stand right now? Any chance that this deal will actually hold?
Well, we are watching the answer to that question unfold in real time. I can tell you that here there was a lot of confusion early this morning when the alarms went off, and we were all going back and forth to shelters over and over again, wondering, has the ceasefire been violated? When was the fighting even supposed to stop? Maybe this is a final barrage of missiles before it all comes into effect, because that's also something that happens a lot ahead of ceasefires anywhere in the world. Warring parties often sort of unload on one another right before the fighting stops. And then there was real concern when it became clear that people had been killed in those missile strikes this morning. Would that mean Israel would retaliate and the whole thing would fall apart? Currently, the ceasefire's been holding, but this is a very fragile situation with many volatile parts, so everyone is proceeding with extreme caution.
So the president also said this on social media. He said Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home while doing a friendly plane wave to Iran. So did Israel stand down after vowing to, quote, respond with full force?
It appears that it did. Israel's defense minister said after the missile strikes this morning that he'd instructed the IDF to respond forcefully to Iran with powerful strikes in the heart of Tehran. And then there appears to have been one strike on a radar site, and that's it. The IDF said that after President Trump spoke on the phone with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu this morning, Israel refrained from further attacks. People here are jittery, but for now, this ceasefire does appear to be holding. The Israeli government has said that it's achieved the objectives of its operation in Iran. So really, we just need to wait and see how things go now.
All right. Haley Ott, thank you so much for your time today. Let's go now to Washington and CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Zheng. Weijia, the president expressed frustration with both countries this morning. Is the White House confident this deal will hold given what happened earlier?
Well, he expressed frustration, but then very soon after that, he expressed happiness in that he was able to get the ceasefire agreement back on track. As you mentioned, he had a phone call with Prime Minister Netanyahu, and then shortly after that, basically took to Truth Social to say that Israel has turned around, that they're not going to bomb anymore, and that the ceasefire is back on. But as Haley pointed out, it really depends on what unfolds, especially in the next 24 hours or so, to see how these two sides actually act and what they are saying about.
All right, y'all keep repeating the same thing. Netanyahu has a lot of respect for Trump. He's always saying good things. He's always trying to stay on Trump's good side. So that says a lot about Trump, I think. But nobody's talked about the terms of the ceasefire, I don't think. And so let's talk about it. So this complete and total ceasefire was brokered by U.S. President Donald Trump on June 23rd after a 12-day air war between Israel, Iran, and America. We bombed the shit out of them. But it's in structured phases. So Iran ceases strikes at midnight U.S. Eastern. Tuesday morning, Tehran time. Israel halts its attacks 12 hours later. A further, and that's the thing. So Iran stops, and then they're like, yo, 12 hours, you got to make sure you're, within 12 hours, you got to be done. They're like, yo, we finna just go crazy the next 12 hours. That's what they did. That's what pissed Trump off. So after another 12 hours on top of that, they're going to consider the official end of the war. All right, which is cool. So unfortunately, there were early violations right away, and Trump he started cursing on national television because of it. So the current status is, despite the shaky beginning, by late June, both sides signaled their intention to abide by the ceasefire, so long as the other side does as well. And so Trump, he said, we don't know how true this is, but he says both sides called him trying to figure it out. He did not go to them; that they went to him, apparently, supposedly, allegedly. Where Iran, I guess their news, their television they were saying that Trump was begging them to stop. You can't trust nobody. It's crazy, bro. Imagine 19 million people in Iran. I don't know how many people it is. I think it's more. It's like 70 or something like that. They're in Iran, and they're like, yeah, man, our leader, man, he made Trump scared out of his pants. After seeing the bombs we dropped over there, come on, man. Trump remarked both Iran and Israel wanted to stop the war equally. So, within 36 hours, this was a 12-hour war between Iran and Israel. If Trump is successful, it's not guaranteed that he will be. With that being said, the Fed, Jerome Powell, he spoke earlier today, and when he speaks, he affects the market. So we, like the stock market, we're gonna watch this and see what the sentiment is.
Continue to monitor the first day of Fed Chair Powell's testimony on Capitol Hill. No big surprises today, really underscoring that the Fed is in no hurry to cut rates until it can assess the impact of the Trump tariffs on the economy. Very similar to what he said at the Fed meeting last week. We bring in now our senior economics reporter,
we're gonna find out.
Steve Leisman. That is the news of the day, that there's no new news. Although I have to say, Steve, Chair Powell pretty explicitly said that if not for the tariffs and the uncertainty created by them, the Fed would already be cutting. Is that your takeaway here?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty widely held belief on the committee, Scott. Look, I don't think he really changed his tune from last Wednesday. Maybe loosening up a bit the harshest possible hawkish view. But he didn't say the door was closed for the summer, but he basically said it's not his intention to open it. In fact, Scott, if you mind, I've got one quote here I want to run from him, if it's there, about him talking about the idea of tariffs passing through that I think summarizes the last 3 hours, if you can run it.
We think we should start to see this over the summer, in the June numbers and in the July numbers. And if we don't, I think we're learning here. If we see less pass-through, there aren't historical experiences we can consult here, really. So it may turn out that the pass-through is less or more than we think.
There you go, Scott. Less or
We don't
more
know.
than we think, and he's just going to hang out. And look, I think we are hearing, more importantly, Scott, that there is support for his position. We did hear rather plainly from Waller and from Bowman, but also we have several other Fed officials, Hammack talking, Bostic talking, and really supporting the idea that the Fed needs to wait and see what happens with tariffs and inflation.
Are we setting ourselves up for a pretty good battle inside the room, Steve, as the next meeting approaches, given the very public disagreement, I think is a fair word, on the views of the folks you just cited with some others?
Not yet, E-Blends, but that's definitely on my agenda.
Scott, but I just don't know how people are going to react. Let's say that and I have no idea if this is going to happen, if the June inflation numbers come in at 3%. The case of those who want to cut is going to be much weaker. If it comes in lower, then you will have either a fight or a lot of acquiescence on the idea. So, Scott, just write these dates down. July 6th, we get the jobs report. July 11th is inflation. July 9th, the Fed, the president decides on the reciprocal tariffs. The Fed meets July 30th. So don't take too much time at the beach, my friend.
No, you're the one who has to be on duty. We'll do accordingly, but you're the one who's in trouble. Steve, thanks. It's Steve Leisman. As I said, Steve's going to continue to monitor all of this. And Steve, please do come back and let us know if there's anything that we.
Let's take a look at HIMSS right now. No surprise with Fed with what the Fed Reserve had to say there. And they killed me.
Trial results for a new experimental obesity drug.
And before we check this out, it's at $45. It's down $19. It was at $65. When it was at $65, I was like, man, I'm gonna sell some puts on this because I don't think it'll drop under 50. Shit, I didn't think it would drop under 52, to be honest. But look, if you look at my position, it was at $65. I'm like, man, this ain't dropping under 52, so I'm gonna do 50. Look at this. I'm down 485%, brother. I'm down 485%, brother. What the hell? What the helly? But look. Remember Tesla, I was down 300%. And we back up, baby. 67. So, we got 30 days left on HIMSS. It's June 24th. This is a July 25. So I got plenty of time. I think that HIMSS is still a great company. Their financials are great. I think they're going to be fine. People are going to buy the dip. If you like HIMSS, you should probably buy the dip. I probably should be buying calls on HIMSS right now, to be honest with you. But let's keep watching this. Like watching this and doing some research now on what's going on with HIMSS and seeing what the sentiment is on HIMSS, that's going to give me an idea if I should be buying calls before the market closes in a half hour.
From Novo Nordisk hitting shares today, and HIMSS is plunging as well on some Novo news. For that, we're going to turn to our Angelica Peebles. Morning, Angelica.
Morning, Carl. That's right. Novo this weekend at a medical meeting sharing the full results from some of its next generation obesity drugs. And one of those drugs is CagriSema. And so going into this, we knew that the shot produced similar weight loss to Lilly's Zepbound. But we also learned this weekend that CagriSema has slightly more side effects. And that, of course, begs the question, why would doctors prescribe it over Zepbound, something that they're already using and they're comfortable with? But even more important to Novo's future is another drug called amycretin. And that drug showed promising weight loss, but there were some concerning rates of side effects in a small early stage trial. They're already going to phase 3, but again, some questions there. So this was not quite the weekend that Novo wanted to quiet those doubts about the pipeline. And then also this morning, the company is announcing that it's pulling Wegovy from telehealth platforms HIMSS and Hers just 1 month into this collaboration because HIMSS continues to sell compounded GLP-1s on the site.
We expected that the efforts towards compounding personalization would diminish over time. When we didn't see that, we had to make a choice on behalf of patients.
What's the name of those? Compounded what?
That it's pulling Wegovy from telehealth platforms HIMSS and Hers just 1 month into this collaboration because HIMSS continues to sell compounded GLP-1s on the site.
We expected that the efforts towards compounding personalization would diminish over time. When we didn't see that, we had to make a choice on behalf of patients.
Oh, so like Ozempic is a GLP-1.
So Hims was one site where Novo was selling Wegovy at a lower price, and so patients could switch from a compounded version when that FDA ban took effect. And they are still working with other telehealth sites, but of course, putting that into question this morning, guys.
It's pretty damning, their statement, that they failed to adhere to the law, which prohibits mass sales of compounded drugs under the false guise of personalization. They talk about false marketing that puts patient safety at risk. Do we expect some legal fallout here? Lawsuits?
It is quite a damning statement. And what's interesting, though, is that Hims never said that they were going to stop selling this compounded drug. And so I think that's raising some questions this morning about what exactly happened on Novo's end. And when I talked to Dave Moore, I asked him what changed. And he kept just repeating that line over and over, that they expected that they would pivot that business, and that has not happened. It's possible. We, of course, have seen quite a lot of legal action from both Lilly and Novo against these compounders. But again, it really comes down to the FDA's enforcement of the compounders. And these are the sites, they would tell you that they're just selling the drugs. And so that's something that they're allowed to do.
And just so you guys know, their weight loss drugs is about 30% of the company's revenues. Whoa, it's a lot.
Lilly shares are up this morning. Novo obviously down, in part because I think of what you were just saying, Angelica, in terms of the potential side effect profile of some of their newer drugs. But Lilly also sharing some new data or existing data, I don't know, on its pill for obesity.
So this is the bottom line. So people are unhappy with Hims and Hers because they sold non-FDA approved compounded GLP-1s in large quantities, marketed them like brand name drugs without proper safety disclosures, and pushed them beyond what regulations allow, leading to safety alerts, partner fallout, legal scrutiny, and financial backlash. That's why it's down so much. And I'm probably going to be assigned, but I still like Hims long term.
Yeah,
so
Lilly, on the other
far.
hand, having a great weekend at that conference, the ADA in Chicago. They have their full results from that pill, and there was some fear going into it that maybe we would see some more side effects, also possible some liver toxicity, and they did not see that. And so I think you're seeing investors breathe a sigh of relief. I was actually talking to one investor who's saying, it seems like Lilly has won this race. And so I think that's why you're seeing a little bit of that there. They're just really having a promising weekend with some of the data, the pill, and other things earlier in the pipeline.
When do we expect the pill potentially to be on the market? When are they saying?
Next year. And so we have seen the first of that phase 3 data. We are expecting more in the third quarter. Remember, we saw diabetes first, and we're expecting more obesity specific results, but you could see that pill as soon as next year.
Lilly has had quite the weekend, as you point out. We talked about him last week as well. Angelica, thank you, helping us explain the space. Angelica.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I'm not good. Like I still gotta do more research. This is definitely gonna affect them financially, especially if they start getting lawsuits. Oh my goodness! All right, boy, 5. Oh, please, no. I want to get somebody's opinion on this. Damn. Him CEO is fighting back. Let's see. Not recently, though. Let's see what this video is talking about. It's a little longer than I wanted, but freak it.
Posted one of their worst days in 2025, dropping
30%, brother.
Statement that shows that he's ready to fight. And quite frankly, I'm not entirely sure that that's the right move, but I'll explain much more as we dive into this video. Let's jump right in. Okay, so this is a follow-up to my morning video. If you haven't seen that yet, then I highly suggest you do that. Very quickly, to recap everybody, I want to throw up a tweet where I summarize my main thoughts around the Hims news. So as we know, earlier this morning, Novo Nordisk canceled their partnership with Hims. Hims fell about 35%. Novo also fell about 5.5% on the back of this news. And the reason why Novo canceled their partnership was very strongly worded. So I have here in the first bullet point that they make some very aggressive claims around illegal and deceptive practices that Hims is apparently taking a part in, which will undoubtedly, even if proven false, have reputational risks to Hims. And so this is one of the reasons why the stock was down so much.
I think Hims will beat this, but it's going to be a journey. It's going to be like a year journey to get back to, if it'll ever get back there. What I'm hoping for, though, is I don't need it to go back to 65. I need it to go back to like 52.
Must come out publicly to disprove what is false, but there will definitely be more investigations done, whether through third parties or government bodies. And in fact, earlier today, management did come out, and we're going to cover it on this video. Investors of Hims can forget about another Novo or even an Eli Lilly partnership, because there's no big pharma company that will want to touch this company with a 100-foot pole with these kinds of allegations hanging over their head. It's pretty much a done deal, at least for the immediate short term, for Hims to have another partnership with big pharma. And in fact, I went so far as to say I think a lawsuit is incredibly likely. Either Novo will sue Hims based on the evidence they have, or if they don't, Hims could even sue Novo based on the reputational risk of these allegations. I'm going to talk about both of those scenarios in this video. I said the 30% looks bad now, but if this heats up legally, it can even get worse. And I also mentioned that short sellers are absolutely going to double down on their positions as this continues to fall. And finally, one very important point here is we must find out once and for all whether this personalization workaround that management is using is in fact allowed or not, because management stands by the fact that it is, but Novo and others are coming out calling it illegal and deceptive and ultimately harmful to patients. So these are the high-level takeaways that I had from the news initially. Now, as we went throughout the day, we also saw massive volume for Hims. We saw double the average 3-month trading volume just hit around 11 a.m. Ultimately, the stock closed around 34% down. We had Novo close around 5.5% down. So just overall a bloodbath of a day if you've been a Hims shareholder. And one thing that added insult to injury was, in fact, that we had downgrades. I mean, Needham downgraded the stock.
Of course. Now, wait a second, y'all. Let's look at the charts, because I haven't looked at the charts. Okay. A lot of volume here. There's volume. People are buying. This is where it was at. And I'm like, man, it could drop to 52. You know, this is where it was at when I bought. Or I didn't buy, I sold puts on it. Because I'm like, man, even if it drops to $52, which is the bottom here, it was holding here for a while, right? I was like, man, we Gucci, right? And then boom, that thing went down here, tight, down here. But there's volume. It's definitely under the over in the oversold area, but it's starting to jump back up. This is the day chart. Let's look at the 1 hour. That's better for this. Look at that. Oversold like a damn. Now it's coming back up. It crossed over the RSI line. So it's back to being bullish. There's a lot of volume down here. You guys see that? A lot of volume down here. It could come. I think it's going to make a comeback, bro. I think it's priced in now, and it's just going to come back up. I don't know. Let's listen to this guy a little bit longer.
They said that the stock was removed from their convictions list. I wouldn't be surprised if other analysts come out of the woodwork and basically reiterate their bearish price targets. Bank of America has $20. I know Citi reiterated as well their $30 price target on the back of this news as well.
30?
Ultimately, reiterating the fact that Hims right now is a battleground stock, and at least for today,
$28 price target,
the price
$30 price
and the analysts
target.
that are
Oh, y'all
coming
trying
out
to
are
kill
not
me.
doing this company any favors. Now, before I get to the CEO's remarks, I want to play this clip from CNBC where they covered this news around the Novo part. And in fact, they're also talking about.
We already saw that. Well, look, I like to listen to other guys, other investors, hear their opinion. I think, long term, it's going to be that's why I don't like buying stocks unless I'm assigned. Because you never know. Even though I thought this was a great company, I used the company. The medical field in general has gray areas. It's not like, if you're going to get in the medical field in any business, in any company, in any stock, it is a weird industry. It's a lot of people doing weird stuff. Let's not act like it's not. So this is always a risk of happening. And damn, it happened. All right. Let's switch gears real quick. I want to show you guys this because this is when I think of Iran, this is what I think about, if I'm going to keep it a buck, as an American citizen. These are their politicians. Have you ever seen politicians in any country do this? This is like seeing the Senate come together and burn a Chinese flag, a Russian flag. You ain't see us burning Afghanistan flags and Iraqi flags and ISIS. We wasn't even burning ISIS flags after 9/11. We wasn't even doing that.
اگر اروپا و کشورهای مهم مثل روسیه و چین این خلأ بین المللی را پر کنند شاید راهی برای ادامه مسیر باشد. در غیر این صورت جمهوری اسلامی با اقدامات هسته‌ای خود ایشان را سر عقل می آورد. و این را بدانند که در چنین شرایطی ایران هیچ تعهدی ندارد که در جایگاه گذشته خود در مسئله هسته‌ای قرار بگیرد.
Look. Bro, imagine the Senate saying death to Russia, death to Russia, death to China, death to China. Hell no. So that's what I look at. And then you got, look at this. This was recent. This was a week ago. And then I went to the rabbit hole because I'm like, yo, how did this government get into power? Well, Iran never really had good leadership. They were in imperialism. They had a freaking king, princes and stuff like that. And, when you have something, is that imperialism or feudalism? I can't freaking remember. So many damn words. But you guys get what I'm saying. They had royalty, all right? And it was governed by one person. You imagine if America was governed by one person, if just Trump governed America, we would probably be in trouble. If just Biden, if just Obama, you see what I'm saying? Like any of these guys, we would definitely have some issues that could cost us our country, our lives based on one person's decisions. And so when you watch the story of how they went from, having a king to this, you kind of see why. It makes sense now. You kind of see why it makes sense now. But the Iranian people, this is what you think of. Let me show you guys this video that I watched that I thought was very, very interesting. Like, watch this. Let's see if I can find a good part here. Look. So cool, bro.
Underneath the surface. So we obviously can see amazing mosques and mausoleums that we went in, but what's actually happening behind the scenes? How are people living their life? I'm on a mission now to meet some people.
Look at the people.
And see if we can find out. How are you?
These the people we want to kill? No.
Yeah, inshallah. Wow, that was cool. I don't know what he was saying. He kept saying America, America, and smiling, but I imagine it was pretty genuine. Are you from Esfahan?
No, I'm from Estefan.
What's Estefan?
Just kidding.
So, what do you like about Estefan?
I like the inflation. I like the political situation, sanctions. It's great. The river is dry.
You know what? At least people have a sense of humor. I respect that. Really, though, what's good about Iran?
What's good about Iran? The nature is very varied.
Look, man, these people are going through sanctions and suffering based on what their government is doing. And this isn't a government that they voted for, right? Sure, did this government have a lot of support? Yes. And it was because, I mean, you had three parties pretty much to support. You had a religious group, if you're Muslim, and the leader of that group is saying all the right things, and you don't have anything because the current government that you do have, you know, you don't like, you're not gonna. I wouldn't want to be in a world where my entire state, my entire safety is based on one individual, right? A king. And the other party was a communist party that were pretty much fighting to overthrow the king there, and he was more scared of the Communist Party than he was of the I forget what the name of the party that Khomeini, is it Khomeini? No, I mean no disrespect, but I think that's how you say his name. So if that's the three you got to work with, you know, we talk about how bad it is in America where we had Biden or Trump, damn, or we had Hillary or Trump, damn, you know. I mean, they had Communist Party, they had potentially radical Muslim group, and they had a king. You know, that's how they got into power. This is something that happened in the 70s. And so now we here. But look at the citizens. And he's like, what do I love about Iran? I love the sanctions. I love the inflation. They are getting their asses kicked right now. And it's based on the decisions of their government, but they don't have the same rights we have in America. They don't. You think they can say F? Back then they could say F Khomeini. Yeah, you can't even be Christian in that country without having to worry about going to prison.
We got mountains, we got desert, we got the sea. The people are friendly. We don't have that variety in food.
Is it a struggle to live here?
Yeah, it's
economically.
It is economically. It's we have problems. We have daily problems. We have daily inflations.
Oh, your strike's at 38. That's great. That is great. Good job, Juan. But it depends. It depends. It depends. It depends. So right now it's jumping back up. If you can get 50% profit your first week, you know, on a 30-day strike, I would close that position. And the reason why is because, dude, you made 50% realized in a week out of the 30 days. You can close that, get into another trade, and double and potentially make 150% realized gains, right?
And those stressful, you know, every time when you're bombarded with the news, stress about the future. People are very educated, but
sad.
mostly they want to immigrate outside Iran.
But there's a misconception that
regular
Iran
people, bro, like you and I.
It's a scary place, but you know, I'm American and I'm going everywhere and I'm telling them I'm American and they like love to hear that.
Yeah, of
what
course.
do you think about America?
People are people everywhere. American people are very friendly. I think they are very open-minded. You know, the problem is between the governments, not about people. I love American people. I love their dollars.
So good to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
I'll let you go.
Facts.
Nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Drew.
He said, I love their dollars. Facts.
What is it like to live in Esfahan? You're Gen Z, 21 years old.
Look.
What's it like to live here?
It's a beautiful city. It's a history, and Nakhsha Jahan Square is.
You know, when I think of the women, I'm like, yo, you're not going to see their faces. That's what we think. It looks I mean, I know that the government there doesn't like Western, but it looks like it's been a little Western, right? Just don't have no pride flag or no cross too hard. Don't go too hard in the paint like they do here in the States.
And very popular. Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing here. Yes. Have you ever met like
It's beautiful
tourists
though. Look at
coming
that.
here, or it's really uncommon?
Yes, the last summer I met 2 Spanish tourists.
Nice. Have you ever met an American tourist?
Never.
So I'm American. How does it feel to?
Really?
Look.
Yeah. Why? Oh, really?
I've never seen an American
What?
person. Yes.
You've
That's
never seen
cool.
an American person?
I like go to the America. I like.
So what do you think about America?
Regardless of
course.
politics, I think American people are very kind.
How do you know if I'm the first one
Man,
you've
come
met?
on.
I saw so many Americans just in movies, not in real life. Of course, I see so many tourists in here from all around the world. I expect America.
Is it safe here?
It's not that dangerous. What do you think about Iranian people? I mean, you may hear
Good question.
about Iranian people that they are very kind and hospitable.
They are. That's just the message that I want to share in my videos. Iran's incredible and super safe, and people are friendly, like these ladies.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
American person.
Iranian people, it's a very kind and friendly together.
How does it make you feel?
I wanna
that
go
the
Iran
entire
now.
world looks down on Iran. They think it's a terrorism country. There's just this horrible, dark picture
I would love to one day, just not right now.
of Iran that the whole world sees. How does that make you feel?
Because Iran always is in the media in a bad way.
Yeah.
So just recently, like in 7 October, what happened in Israel. So in the news, most of the country, they say, oh, Iran got involved with the war.
Yeah.
So and they put pictures of the war. So that's the media. It's completely separated from the people.
Exactly. That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point. I bet if you could say
Sad.
one message.
Like
that-
you don't picture the women in
pictures
Iran.
of
They look like they Latinas. You don't picture that from our media that they regular people. Look,
So that's the media.
I thought she was gonna be walking around. You wasn't gonna see a single woman's face.
It's completely separated from the people.
Exactly. That's the point.
Yeah.
Look at the kids playing
I bet if you
soccer.
could say one message to everybody in the world.
I would say تعصب بیجا مانع درک است.
Yeah.
As the sun goes down, I'm meeting up with a friend of a friend who's going to help me sum up my thoughts when it comes to safety in Iran. What is special about Isfahan to you?
It's so clean, comparing other cities in Iran. Also, people are kind to each other.
It's clean.
It means
It's clean
you
for the
can
world,
find people
actually.
whom you can trust on them.
Yes.
Okay.
You know,
Exactly.
before I came to Iran, a lot of my friends and family, even my parents, think that I'm so crazy, that it's so dangerous. How does that make you feel?
I know. I heard a lot about it in news. That's not the truth. Iran is very safe. Like, okay, in every country.
That's how it was when I went to Russia for the first time. My mother was scared that I was going to Russia because we had problems with Russia, and not as bad as it got, you know, with this whole war and stuff. But she was so scared. And then when I got there, man, it was the nicest people, bro. The nicest people.
We have problems. We have maybe inner war. So every country has it.
Well, it's right in the middle of the world.
Exactly,
and you have
it is.
many other wars happening around Iran, and it's just, yeah, it's a mess politically.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But the point is, Iran is very safe, very kind people. If you could say any message to people in the world watching this, mostly American people watching this, what would you tell them?
I would tell you that Iran is safe, and don't let news to cheat you. And if you travel to Iran, so because it's very economic, very safe, and people are very welcoming and nice to you, so you will have a nice trip and stay in Iran. I can promise.
As I head back to my hotel, I want to update my parents who've been waiting eagerly to hear from me. Hey, I really want to take you here.
I think I'm okay right now, but thank you. I don't know, man, but the world's falling apart in the Middle East if you're there.
I promise you it's safe. Yeah.
All right, I believe you. You look like you're in very good hands, so that makes us happy.
Thank you. Don't worry at all. Don't worry at all.
My mom is right. I am in good hands. With Amin as my guide, everyone here has been super friendly. But there's something else worth mentioning. While the Iranian people seem happy on the surface, life behind the scenes isn't so easy. Thanks to international sanctions, Iranians can't use foreign credit cards, which means they can't book flights, travel.
So this is the game changer that when Trump removed the sanctions from Syria, that was a game changer for the people of Syria, because Syria's been going through the same thing. They can't use credit cards. We run all that shit, bro. You know, that people won't trade, won't import stuff to them, won't export stuff from them. Their economy's getting shook. Inflation's insane because their money's not worth anything. That's what, man.
Travel or shop online like we do.
Look, they can't shop online like we do.
Physical travel agency and pay for flights in cash. And
did you hear that? They can't shop online. They don't get to just open up booking.com and book a vacation. They got to go to a travel agency and pay cash. Did you see that? Run that shit back. That's crazy. America's the worst country in the world.
Amin tells me he has to visit a physical travel agency and pay for flights in cash. And when he has to travel abroad, he needs to bring a lot of US dollars since he can't withdraw money from an ATM. It's a tough reality of being Iranian. Our road trip is now going to take us north and west, deep into the Kurdish communities and villages, which is going to really show the diversity of Iran. If you've never heard of Kurdistan, it's the world's largest unrecognized country, spanning Iran, Iraq, Turkey, and Syria. It has more residents than all of Canada, but sadly, regional politics prevent them from uniting as one nation. My goal for the remainder of the trip is to visit the smallest villages to meet the Kurds and see what their life is all about. And that leads us to our first town called Harsin.
It reminds me of Turkey a little bit. Oh, this one killed me. Look at this.
Where you're gonna sit?
I'm gonna sit next to you. So where are you gonna sit?
There.
Okay, so
he's only like 5 years old. It's a big kid.
Okay, there.
Is that okay?
Yep. Rocky speaks English. He's my best pet.
So he's your best friend and your best pet.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a nice room you have.
Yep. My favorite toy is a bouncy ball.
He took me in his room in the
and we bombing these places, bro. And what, you know, there's kids like this in Gaza. Oh, I don't even want to get started with that, bro. Just sad.
Is that fun?
Yep.
Oh,
these governments, bro. These governments are the worst, man.
No, but I'm not reading it. Here's my bathroom. We can use it to go bath.
Everybody watching this video,
in my bathroom, you can use it
to
go bath.
Is going to love you.
Yep.
What do you want to say to them?
I want to say I'm 6 years old.
Oh, 6.
And cute.
Yep.
Yes, let's go. The food is ready. In the U.S. than here. For example, this would be like 7 US for one. No, one.
$3 for one. Watch how much it is there.
1 kg you buy here for 5 cents.
5 cents.
5 cents. Yeah.
You're rich.
It's like 1/1000 is cheaper than the U.S.
You take your U.S. dollars there, you're rich as hell. Hello.
They're making joy. They say that we can just export eggplant to US and sell it there. They want to know how people in US, that like Trump.
A lot of people like him, a lot of people hate him. What do you think?
He likes him.
Really?
Really? My sound levels, they're reading okay. Interesting. Did you see this? This guy said he likes Trump, and he's in Iran.
Someone in US that they know, for example, the name of the leader in Iran, do you think that they know?
Absolutely not. I think nobody knows. Yeah.
But here everybody if you ask them, probably they know the previous presidents of the United States.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Someone in US that they know, for example, the name of the leader in Iran, do you think that they know?
No.
Absolutely not. I think nobody knows. Yeah.
But here everybody if you ask them, probably they know the previous presidents of the United States.
They all know who the president of the United States is.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yes, Khudafez.
That's what the name is kalane, bread, which is a stuff with some vegetable grows in mountain, as the lady was saying.
In Afghanistan, they call this bolani.
Bolani.
It's the same thing.
Really?
Bolani, yes. This is really a cool scene. You see all these men making this incredible flatbread with some onions inside, scallions. We're going to give it a try.
I'm hungry. I want some good food.
America.
He can't believe it.
Our United States.
Every time we tell people we're American, they just say Trump.
He says that if Trump comes to the office,
بگو الان
our money
60
value
تومنه.
drops down much more.
تومنه ترامپیت میرش تو
100
100.
تومن. He says that the price of dollar is around 55,000 right now. It will be 100,000 soon.
You know, at least that people here joke about it, because that's really messed up for the economy.
Yeah.
But they have a sense of humor, which is actually really nice.
Merci.
Okay, there we go. Let's try it. How much is it?
200.
200. Can I give a tip?
Yeah, leave 3.
Take 3.
20 cents? 30 cents?
Yes.
That shit was 20 cents. Bro, I'm about to go to Iran. About to go to Iran, bro. This for a week, man. This for a week.
Try it.
20 cents.
He says that you have to drink it with yogurt drink.
It's really creamy and buttery, almost like a quesadilla with no cheese, but just the onions. Oh my God, for real. In Iran, I've never tried something like this.
He says that it's considered to be one of the oldest fast foods in the world.
Amazing, man.
Oldest
Really
fast foods in the
They
world.
give you this really salty milk drink.
Nah, no thank
They
you.
drink it across the Middle East.
No, thank you.
Really, really sour
Nope.
and salty, but it's good mixed with the food. Tell me about Kurdish people. Tell me about your culture.
Friendly people, hospitable people. They are among one of the most ancient nations in this country from the mid.
Oh, 100%.
I could eat
100%,
like
Robert.
4 of these, but I'm gonna save myself for more food later. Do you want another bite?
Yes.
Cue the music. Spas. Okay, we still have about 3 pounds worth of money to get rid of, so
Bro, that
onwards.
he's got stacks of cash in that bag.
Superstar of the town right now. Everybody is looking at you, pointing at you, and they're talking about you.
You're also the superstar because we're together, so.
Yes.
Crossing the street in Iran is crazy. The drivers do not pay attention, and they won't stop for you unless you really do this. It's crazy, you can literally find anything here from clothes to electronics to, look at this one, it's like an antique shop. Like if we were standing right here 50 years ago, the guy would look like this and this would look the same.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly the same. Okay, so we still have a lot of cash. We gotta spend some money, man. What do you think we should get? What are these old men doing here?
I think that they are selling...
Guys, take a look at this. Take a look at this. What the hell is going on? 42 minutes ago, ceasefire is in effect. 20 minutes ago, Iran launches attack on Israel after Trump ceasefire announcement. 44 minutes ago, ceasefire seemingly off as Israel accuses Iran of violating the deal. Is this old? These are news channels. How are you reporting this now?
Overnight, Israel's military says it's planning a response after claiming that Iran launched even more missiles. Iran, though, is denying that claim.
It comes hours after a ceasefire deal that was
This is old. Look at the
Proposed by-
media, bro. 3 hours ago, we found out the ceasefire is back on, and they're uploading this 20 minutes ago. How irresponsible. How irresponsible.
This ceasefire deal that President Donald Trump announced between Israel and Iran seems to be off at this hour. Israel is accusing of Iran of violating it, which Iran denied. President Trump told Israeli Prime Minister to not expect further American offensive action. This all comes as a big NATO summit is taking place this week.
Yeah, this is old too. And look, people commenting, they buying it. That's so irresponsible, bro. Man. What's up, Zeus? Yeah, they crazy. They crazy for sure. But they were worse. They were worse in 2001. That's for sure. Way worse. Let's see what's going on. Oh, yeah. Let's see what Bank of America thinks about this whole Iran conflict and how it affects the markets. I do want to watch that.
Much for joining us this morning. I hope you're having a good Tuesday morning. I'm Maria Bartiromo, and it is Tuesday, June 24th. It is 8 a.m. on the button. 8 a.m. on the button on the East Coast. The geopolitical story taking center stage this morning. President Trump is now en route to the Netherlands to attend the NATO summit. This after the president brokered an historic ceasefire between Iran and Israel. The markets have been trading higher since the United States took out the nuclear sites in Iran on Saturday night. Right now, the Dow Industrial's up almost 300. Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive.
Hey, I think that's going too far, though, Robert. Hell no. There's zero chance. Like, you didn't hear everything that they just said just now? Inflation, their government. It's not the people. It's not the country, and it's not the people. It's the government. And why would you want to live in an environment where inflation is like that, where you can't use credit cards, you can't order shit online? I don't know about you, but I like my lifestyle, and I just don't see what makes America so terrible. You know you can't be a Christian in Iran. Like, you can, but you're definitely a second-class citizen. And if you were a Muslim that became a Christian, it's Sharia law over there. You can be put to death. As a matter of fact, there are people being put to death all the time for criticizing the government of Iran. Look, you talking about, hell no, I don't want to live in Iran. Now there's Middle East countries like Saudi Arabia, like Dubai, stuff like that. But let me show you something. Oh, that shit expired. This is one artist.
The news will come as a relief to fans in Iran and abroad. Over the past few months, rapper Tumash Telehi has become a symbol of
Why the hell my screen not flipping? There you go.
resistance to the Iranian regime. He was sentenced.
So this is one guy that was sentenced to death in Iran. Let me show you another one. This guy right here, sentenced to death. Why? Why? For criticizing the Iranian government. For criticizing the Iranian government. Put to death. Like, no. These other countries ain't better. America's the shit. I'm not losing sight of that. Hell no.
Is the chairman and CEO of Bank of America, Brian Moynihan, with us. Brian, great to see you.
It's great to be here again,
Thank
Murray.
you so much for joining us this morning. And I want to get your take first. You've got probably the best read on the consumer out there. So I want to get your take on what's going on in the macroeconomic story. But first, how do you assess these geopolitical headlines? Has there been an impact in terms of business from your standpoint?
Well, I think it was a pretty quick back and forth over the last couple of weeks. But I think the market loves resolution and potentially had a strong resolution over the last 72 hours, which I think the market's reacting to favorably. Oil went up and came back down. And so I think, the worry about the Middle East is the geopolitical worry, but also the effect on oil prices, and it's settled back down. So that would be good for the American consumer ultimately, because they get the benefit of that, as well as consumers around the world.
So maybe that's why markets are trading up. Look, you've got such an incredible reach at Bank of America, from the consumer business to the commercial traditional lending, as well as investment banking, wealth management. There is going to be this wealth transfer, right, from generation to the next generation. And it seems that Bank of America is very well poised to capture that transfer. How do you see things over the next 10 years in terms of that wealth transfer that is happening from one generation to the next?
Well, there are two parts to that. One is there is a lot of money that's going to move. The value creation by the great American economy and the capitalism and the kind of capitalism practice in America created a lot of value. And it's resident in people of my age and older that will be transferred to their children. But interesting, there's a period of transition between that, which is just by natural way things work, a lot of women are going to inherit a lot of money from the family, whether they're a primary earner or not, because at the end of the day, they outlive men. And so there's going to be an interesting transition our private bank tries to keep track of, which is the transition to women and then ultimately the transition to the kids. So it's going to be an interesting dialogue.
I love that.
Yeah,
that
you would.
Women are going to inherit all of this money. We're living longer, you're right, typically for men. And that's something that you have to think about.
Exactly.
Running Bank of America. How do you capture that money? So give us, you know, given your scale at B of A, give us your sense of the consumer right now. Sure. I know the last time you gave us the snapshot, you saw that younger people were basically going, you know, buy now, pay later. But what are you seeing today in the consumer, Brian?
So if you start from the macro, the unemployment rate's still 4.1, 4.2%, which means people are earning. The wage growth is still 3% or so, which is people are growing their wages. And then you look in our business, they're continuing to spend. And so despite the confidence surveys and said, you know, American consumers were quitting and not aggressive at things, they kept spending all the way through that. And right now they're spending at 4.5% over last year's June, year to date, 5%. And that is more consistent with a 3% growth economy than what we have predicted in our company is about a 1% growth economy. That'll come into sync as the tariffs hopefully get resolved and things like that. We can talk more about that. But the consumer's in good shape. The credit quality's in good shape. Their money's in their accounts. But as student loans restart, there's a little more draw on it. They paid more taxes this year, believe it.
Why do I think, why do you think Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world? Because they're having kids like crazy. So many kids, and they're doing it on purpose. And that's fine, you know. But I don't think it's because, you know, they're recruiting people and people are running to become Muslim. And I don't think it's because of that. But I do think it's because they have traditional views. And if you look at, you know, that's one thing that I love about Christianity is the traditional views. If you look at America, it's become a religious-less country. And that's why we're in the predicament that we're in. It's not because of religion. It's because people have walked away from religion. They're having less kids than ever. And then the core values aren't biblical. So but Christianity's still huge. Right, it's still growing. It's still huge, and I think it is is it the biggest now? No, it's not the biggest. Let me see. And you know, Muslims, it's depending on the group, they'll go and conquer your ass. They're gonna take over. Yeah, Christianity is still number one. It's still number one. 2.4 billion Christians, and probably the most persecuted, besides Jews. They chopping Christians' heads off in Africa, slaughtering churches, hundreds of people in the church, slaughtering them just because they're Christians. Gets no media coverage because it ain't popular.
They're not broad-based consumers. And so they're pretty much in equilibrium now. We just have to watch, really have to watch unemployment right now. That's okay.
And do you have the scope of who's spending what? I mean, you see, like, I go to Walmart, I spend money on my Bank of America credit card. You know exactly what I bought. I mean, you've got such data and detail. So can you break it down from the high earners to the low FICO score earners? Who's spending more and what are they doing?
So if you look at what's going on, one of the interesting trends, just to spot out stuff, is there's a movement to travel more domestically than abroad just because of all the discussion that's gone on. And so that means local bookings and miles driven and over the holidays was strong. And that means local hotels and stuff. Cruises are picking back up. If you look at the other thing that's kind of interesting, the amount spent on AI subscriptions is up 100% and some over year. So
wow, AI subscriptions.
Yeah, and so they're charging their credit card or whatever. And so you're seeing that happen more and more. So that shows you the power of AI being democratized. Over 1 million of our customers are paying a monthly payment into the AI structure. People are going to movies more. You know, the movies out are good, 100% and some up over last year. People are still eating out, a couple percent points growth year over year. And so when you hear different companies, some may be winning in brand of their battle.
This is the information that you want, guys. You want to hear somebody who has that type of data. The CEO of Bank of America is telling you what people are spending money on. That's what you want to know.
They battle their brand or their offering, some may be losing, but in the aggregate, you're seeing that spending pretty constructive, which is good news, and I think provides a good anchor to windward against any possibility of recession. And our team has no recession predicted. They think, yes, the economy will slow down as the drag on rates and tariffs and inflation continues to get in control. The Fed will cut rates really next year. Our team's a little more conservative on that because they believe it'll take longer for inflation. But in the end of the day, they don't believe there's a recession, which means that this could all sort of work through the soft landing, no landing, all the debate that's gone on. It looks like we're getting through it.
So, I mean, you're really capturing that. It really strikes me that people are spending money on AI subscriptions. I mean, it makes perfect sense, and I love that you've got that kind of detail. You're capturing that. What do you spend, like $13 billion on technology every year?
Yeah, we do. We spend at a different level than the consumer, but
of course,
our job is to apply technology, and about $13 billion in total, and a lot of it goes into new applications or new code being developed, and we're finding AI impacting that in terms of efficiency of our developers even. And so we're spending a lot of money in AI around multiple dimensions. One is how people work. Two, you can go after types of work that have never been gone after, the preparation of pitch books, the things that typically were really the purview of an individual looking at a bunch of data. The third thing is in computer coding, we can save, we think about 10 to 15%. We have 18,000 programmers today, coders, using the AI techniques. We've seen them save 10, 20% of their time on a coding effort. That's very strong. And then we're seeing it in Erica, 20 million people using it, 200 million times a quarter, 3 billion interactions since we started with Erica. And we keep increasing its ability to help consumers, but now business customers. 50% of all the interactions our business customers are going through Erica to get resolved. And then even our employees, if you want to screwed up your password and you have to fix it, you can go to Erica and fix it.
I like that girl, Erica. Yeah, she's she's the woman on the other side of everything, and her voice is always a friend. Okay, let me move on to investment banking, because here we've seen mixed, right? I mean, you suggested in your last quarter that investment banking activity will likely be down or sort of flat. We saw a couple of IPOs recently, a couple of deals. How would you assess it? What are you expecting second half?
I think on the commercial side, whether it's small businesses or companies going public or deals getting done, this certainty around tariffs has to set in. Now, the advice that when I was asked early on talking to the administration was get deals done, some deals, and then people can pattern other deals off them. So if you get a deal done with country X, they'll look at all the countries that kind of look like X and say, we ought to get there. And so I think you're seeing those fall in place, the UK agreement and other agreements out there. That's important because if you're trying to buy a company, you have to think about its revenue stream and profit stream. That's what you're discounting. And so if you think about that, it's important to them. If you think about it in terms of IPOs, same thing. There has to be some market certainty. The good news is you're starting to see them get through. So this quarter's weaker, but the pipeline is very full. It's kind of an odd thing. You have the strongest pipeline, but this quarter's a little weaker. And we said 1.2 billion in revenue, which is still not an insignificant amount of revenue for the quarter, but it's a little bit down, largely due to the hesitation from Liberation. This quarter opened with Liberation Day is ending with a war being resolved.
It's cool, man. This is good stuff. This is the stuff that you guys want to stay on top of if you're going to invest in the stock market, bro. At least the way that I do it. Guys, I got to get off this thing. I got to go to the bathroom. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, man. I will see y'all tomorrow.